and all of you. As we have seen the basics of running in the first session, so now we'll be going to the next level, that how to prepare for the events, say like half marathon, full marathon. Some of us may be preparing for 10 kilometers. So what are the prerequisites, the details about how to prepare, what type of training one should undergo, and then what are the intricacies as far as the injuries are concerned, as well as the recovery part is concerned, and something about cross training also we'll discuss at the last questions. Last question is bit change. So as the session will progress, we'll come to the that question. So let us again welcome SN, and I hope everybody has enjoyed the session. And one good news for SN, that we have recorded the whole session and now uploaded on YouTube. So I personally and from behalf of all of us, thank Dr. Makarand Kazarekar and his wife also, because she has also supported him to go for the hardship and all of the efforts. So I think day before yesterday only, Makarand has uploaded the recording on YouTube. So let us start. Over to SN.
So thanks once again, everyone over here. It is my pleasure once again to meet all of you, and then thank Dr. Ambedkar sir, thank Dr. Girish, thank you Dr. Anjana ma'am, and everyone, Tendulkar sir, everyone. I think PM is also here. Dr. Anaga Borvadekar, I think the gentleman is here. So I think it's very good to connect again back. And then since, as Mr. Dr. Ambedkar has said, last time we have seen the basics, how to go about math, how to prepare ourselves, how to lay out the foundation. Now we are really gearing into events, whether it is 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers or 21 or even 42.2 or even beyond. So my forte is mainly about running. Swimming and cycling, I may not be having idea. And then if the questions can be only on running, it will be of immense help for me also to share my thoughts. And yeah, and once again, thank you so much. And then I remember the promise what I made. If there is an opportunity, I would like to come and meet all of you and then exchange our thoughts further. Yeah, thank you so much. And then we can proceed with the session. Yeah.
Hello, sir. My first question for today is, how important is the running form? That is the correct posture, landing of feet, neck motion, neck position, swinging of feet. Swinging of arms. How will it affect running?
This is a brilliant question, because a lot of times we get this doubt that how I'm supposed to run. Is my running posture good or not? There are fundamentals. I would like to bifurcate into two portions. One is fundamentals which we can change very soon. And there are fundamentals which we cannot change very soon. So I would prefer that the fundamentals which we can change very soon need to be adopted. And those we cannot change very soon, we need to take good time to modify ourselves to that sort of posture. So fundamentally what we need is that we need to imagine that there is a string attached to our head, and we have to think that we are the tallest person in the world. This is step number one in terms of posture. We should imagine that we are the tallest person. At the same time, you may be remembering that a chi running, what we call as chi running, which talks about inclining forward, tipping forward, right from head to the toe. We should move forward. Now, a beginner, what he should do or she should first of all stand and try to incline the whole body from toe to head. And at one point of time, the inclination will be such that we have to necessarily take first step to avoid the fall. The moment we take the first step, the same posture we should continue to run. This is what we call as chi running. The second posture what we need to adopt is the tummy muscles. We need to slightly tuck in our tummy muscles very, very slightly. And if we have tucked in the tummy, then from there only we should breathe. We should not further extend our tummy. So let's say we are slightly contracting as though somebody is going to punch on our tummy. So that sort of posture we should run. Why we need to do that is that when we do that, we'll also engage our core muscles completely. And I also tell my trainees that when you are running, you should imagine that you are closing all the anus muscles as well as all the muscles, so that you would not pass urine. You are getting urine urgently or motion urgently, but you don't want to pass because the house is half a kilometer away. What do you want to do? That sort of holding we should do while running, but not always. But then this sort of engagement will surely help to distribute the load throughout the body. These are the fundamentals which we can adapt and adopt immediately. There is no doubt about it. And as far as the landing is concerned, there are three types of landing. One is toe landing, second is midfoot landing, and third is heel striking. If you take the whole world, at least 75 to 75% of runners are heel strikers, which normally we tell people that you avoid. But when we say we avoid, it doesn't mean that from day one we should start changing, because I would say myself as heel striker. So it is not necessary that we need to get into midfoot landing or toe landing always. So if whatever comes to us naturally, we should go about that way. We should not be thinking too much about landing as such. The another very important point what I want to highlight is that when we are running, we should run smoothly. What is more important is smooth running, so that the shoulders should not get lifted up. We should not create stress to ourselves. The head should see straight. Normally people say around 20 meters to 30 meters distance we should look at. In some of the articles, they may be writing 20 feet. I do not know whether really they understand what is the meaning of 20 feet, which is very, very, very near. So we should at least look at a distance of 20 meters to 30 meters ahead and while running, so that we should not give stress to our neck also. We should not keep following our shoes. We should be looking forward. One more important point is that when we are running, our arm should be somewhere in the waist. We should not lift it up and we should not drop it down also. Somebody runs like this. We should not run like this, as though we are, this sort of movement should not happen, because we should use the energy given by the arms also. So when we do like this, then the pushing action comes much easier than doing like this. So we should not run like that, and which is keeping the hands very close to the chest. We should not run like that. So, and one thing we should remember is that we should not give any stress to any of our part of the body. Now, I would like to define what is core. Normally, we say what is core. People misunderstand this as a abdominal muscle. No, it is not abdominal muscle. In the entire human body, if we remove the hanging parts, for example, head is a hanging part, hand is a hanging part, our legs are hanging part. All these are removed. Let's say head, hands, and legs are removed. Whatever is remaining is a core. So it includes right from the top of the chest to the tummy, and all this core should be steady. This is like our potential energy. Like if you are a believer in Hinduism, this is like Shiva, and Shakti is our hand, and Shakti is our legs. So this should move. The hand and leg should move. The core should not move. Also, the head should not move. So, and this is how we should run. And any other point I missed out while running? I think these are the postures we should maintain. Yeah. So after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, initially our running will be very, very smooth, fluid, because we are fresh. The muscles are fresh. But once we pass, let's say 1 hour of running, then there is a tendency of drooping our muscles. Like our head may fall, our shoulder may fall. So that point of time, we should again bring back to our consciousness that yes, we need to maintain our posture. So again, we should go erect and then start running. So that is how we should keep doing, shrugging off our stresses and then keep doing. Maybe rotation sometimes, or maybe the kick butt while running will also help. So this is how we should go about the running posture as such. Now we'll come to the second part, which is the landing part. One has to take at least 6 or 7 months or 8 months to correct our running posture if it is bad. For example, if I am a heel striker and I think that by doing the heel striking, I'm going to damage my knee or damage my hip, then probably what I should do is I should go for correction in the posture, right? So that we should go for once the race is done, once you have taken the rest, now the next season is starting. That point of time, we can go for this modification of posture, which is the chi running, like we need to start inclining and then only go for midfoot landing. That sort of practice we should do. Very, very vital important point here is that the moment you choose thicker cushion shoes, then obviously you are going to be a heel striker. There is no other thoughts. You can even check that out practically. If you are wearing a thicker cushion shoes, you would become a heel striker. So it is always better that we choose our cushion very thin and light, and then we can go for midfoot landing. That's it, Dr. Rangana. You are on mute, ma'am. Yeah.
The next question is, what is the role of strength training, cross training, and yoga in running?
See, strength training is, I would combine all of these three into only one, which is strength training. And this is very, very critical in the sense that I have experienced this in my first year of running. And I felt that I'm not running into my full strength potential. And I proved to be right. So the strength training is very, very critical. What it does is that when we run, we have muscular imbalances. So this sort of strength training would identify where our muscular imbalances are, and we can able to correct ourselves. The muscular imbalances can be corrected during our strength training process. And the another advantage of strength training is that it is also going to improve our metabolism rate very much. The sense that our whatever the rate at which we oxidize the food, the nutrition, all those things will improve. And when we do the strength training, it has to be running oriented strength training. We should not be doing strength training which is not related to running oriented. For example, a tennis player may adopt a different strength training, and the shuttle player may adopt a different strength training, and as a runner we should adopt a different strength training. I would not like to get into the what sort of strength training we should do. Every one of us must be having our own idea. Even if you are not, then we should go and find in Google, in YouTube, we should go and say that Eliud Kipchoge strength training. Then you would get what are the runners normally tend to do, all those strength training you will get. And you should, when you are starting the strength training, one should always go with 3 or 4 only. Let's say the number of repetitions required are 20, then start with only 3 or 4. This is the mistake I have done in my life. Whenever I do go for a strength training, not only during my running days, even before my running days also, whenever I used to hit the gym, the day one of the gym, and that is used to be my last day of the gym also. So whenever I go to the gym, then I used to do a lot of exercises. And then when I come back, then I feel muscle soreness, and then I don't go to the gym next time. And even till date, I never visited gym apart from 3 days. And all the 3 days were a single day. And that is not at all useful for me. And what I do strength training is that it's more like a self body weight, which itself is very much sufficient. Because I consider myself as having a fragile body, and I don't want to go into any sort of tough strength training workouts or circuit strength training and all. I don't do. So circuit training is consecutive back-to-back sort of HIIT, very, very high intensive training that I don't do. I go for a very, very normal, mild strength training exercises, my own self body weight, or at the maximum I would go for the TheraBand or the stretchable band sort of strength training. That itself is immense helpful for me. And the self body weight training is good enough for me. And that is what I believe in. Now coming to the second part of Dr. Rangana also spoke about yoga. I have a fundamental difference of opinion about yoga. Yoga is very good. Dr. Philip Maffetone recommends that we should do yoga. But a yoga as well as a runner would surely say this statement, that the yoga should be done on either on the strength training day or just after your run, not before your run. Yoga should not be done before your run. That is only one point I would like to highlight. Yoga should be done after our run or on a strength training day. When I'm saying yoga, I'm not meaning about the breathing exercises. I'm not talking about the meditation. I'm only talking about the postures, what you like to maintain, that portion. Because yoga itself is the way the runners use left, right, center, abuse the word. I don't want to get into that. I am only using the runner's terminology. The typical yoga is completely different, which is the union of mind, heart, soul, and body. So I'm not getting into that. So my point is that do not do yoga before the run, do yoga after the run, or do the yoga on a strength training day. Whenever you are going to do yoga, another principle what I adopt, again learning from Dr. Philip Maffetone, is that if there is a stretch, do not do 100% stretch, do not do 99% stretch. Your potential is 100, let's say. What you can do the stretch of muscle is 100, assume for a moment. Then to bring objectivity, you stop somewhere around 95. That is how you should don't go for stretching, because every time doing the best is not at all good. You are putting the system into severe pressure, severe stress. So I would recommend that you go for 95% of your full potential. At the same time, the holding time, if the holding time is, let's say, 30 seconds or whatever, and you're going for second repetition, again holding it for 30 seconds, keep watching your heart rate. If the heart rate is going beyond a particular level of your own aerobic threshold, it is of no use whatsoever. So it is better that we stop and we get to know what is the number of counts. For example, I go for push-ups. Let me explain you with a simple example. I go for push-ups. Those who have watched my videos, I would do only 5 push-ups or 7 push-ups at the maximum. Why I do that way? Because I already taken the count. The moment I do first, second, third, seventh, the heart rate would have already come to a level of 120. And after I stop doing 7th push-ups, it will further shoot up. That 120 will become 125, it will become 130. Then it will start dropping down. So whenever I reach 10 beats lesser than my aerobic threshold, that is where I stop my count. So if I do that, then it is going to be much safer option for me, because while you're doing the strength training, the purpose is to build the strength, not to destroy you. That is one point. Now, very, very important point I would like to tell about the strength training is that those who are runners would like to take down in their mind or write down in a piece of paper. There is one YouTube channel called Bob and Brad. They are the famous 2 physiotherapists on the internet. So I follow them, Bob and Brad. These people, if you search for the strength trainings must not be done by any one of us, that sort of title they would have given. There are 15 such strength trainings. I don't do those. Now, if I tell you not to do that, then probably you will look at me different as an alien. But still, I would prefer that you don't do this, because there are some exercises like crunches, which we think that this is going to help my abdominal muscle. At the same time, it is going to spoil our spine. So here is where the caution is that we don't want to spoil our vertebra, in the sense that the back spine. We want to be very, very safe. Again, last time I said that safety first, that whatever we are going to say, we are going to listen, we are going to advise, we have to keep that in mind. By which, even if you are going to achieve 5 minutes more time than what we would have achieved in a half marathon or full marathon, that is fine for me. So with that safety principle only, I'm saying that please do watch those 15 exercises which we should not do, and keep that in mind and then go for it. So that's all as far as strength training is concerned. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, sir. Now, if I'm running, say, since last 6 months, how I prepare for my first half marathon, even as a season runner, how you look at this?
So, as you rightly mentioned, that the moment we cross 6 months, it is the time for us to even clock half marathon. But one thing is, I would like to mention a point that if we are into 6th month of running, and if you are not closer to, let's say, 70 minutes of 10 kilometers, I would still prefer that we go for a good timing in the 10 kilometers and then migrate towards 21 kilometers. I'm saying 70 minutes because I'm finding a lot of people are above 50 or almost nearing 50. When I did the advice, what I got was that why don't you do a sub 60 10 kilometers and then go for half marathon. So I think my first run was some 67 minutes without any practice. When the moment I started practicing, within 15 days or so, I crashed below 60. So that was very easy for me to attempt a half marathon. Half marathon is not a joke. For the matter, even 5 kilometers is not a joke. 10 kilometers is not a joke. In the sense that even 1,500 meters run is not a joke. So why I'm saying so is that the moment we practice for, let's say, 1,500 meters, our speed is going to be much faster. So we are going to get bored somewhere around 1,400 meters. The moment we are going to run for 5 kilometers, we will think we are when the 5 kilometers is going to get over at the 4th kilometer. And it is going to be a common phenomenon, whether it is a 10 kilometer or a half marathon or full marathon. So what preparation we need is that for half marathon, I won't say it's within the human potential. For a full marathon, we need to go beyond the human potential. I would say that way. Why I'm saying so is that the energy extraction possible for a half marathon is very much already available within us. So even if we are not taking care of enough nutrition prior to the race or during the race, we may still manage to do a half marathon without much of an injury also. But full marathon is a different cup of tea, or it's a different ball game altogether. But still, if you are aspiring for a half marathon, it has to be very, very judicious, very methodical preparation, and you have to give yourself at least 16 weeks. So that is what I would prefer. So now let us go back and then start from the racing time onwards. So I'm not talking about the 6 months guy. I'm talking about that as though I'm a seasoned runner. What I'm supposed to do? Let's say my previous season is over. I have taken enough rest. I'll come to that. What is enough rest? Meaning maybe sometime later. Once that enough rest is done, now I'm going to start my training. So the initial 4 months I would allocate for base building, or 3.5 to 4 months I would allocate for base building. After that, which I already discussed, so I'm not going to discuss further. After that, what we're supposed to do is we need to go for a sort of hill training or the flyover training. So at least twice in a week, we can go for flyover training. While running, we should go up very slowly, and you can come down as you wish, and again go up very slowly and come down as you wish. The purpose is not to strain your heart rate. The purpose is to build your muscles. Purpose is to activate your running muscles, and then so that the recruitment of muscles will be far, far better when you are going for a uphill running. The uphill running meaning that you are not going to prove to yourself that how fast you can able to run. No, that is not the purpose. There are some people who do speed interval on the uphill. I don't recommend to my trainees, at least. So you should go slowly and then come down. Go slowly, come down. What you can do is, let's say if you are maintaining a pace of 7 pace while the uphill running, then maybe the next week you can try for 6:55 pace. Maybe next week you can try for 6:53 or 6:50 pace or whatever. Like that, you can gradually improve. So once you do that for, let's say, a month or so, then we can migrate towards any other training. Now, there is one more important training I would like to mention over here is the ABC drill. So you can Google and find out. This is balance and coordination, agility, balance and coordination. This is more like a ABC drill. This is normally done by any hockey players or footballers, or they use some cones. You might have already seen some hurdles. All those things you need to manage that. There are some beautiful videos available in the YouTube, and then you can follow that ABC drill once in a week. That would give you a lot of agility. And when we talk about agility, I'd like to talk about running as such. What is running? If you look at the two parameters about running, if I want to reach a 10 kilometer mark or 21 kilometers mark, what are the two important factors? One is that the cadence, what we call the stride rate per minute, right? So how fast you are going to take the strides and how long you are going to take the strides. These are the only two factors. There is no other factor, right? So as far as the physicality is concerned, these are the only two factors, which is stride rate and the stride length, what we take. So with these two factors, in order to improve that, we don't give much of importance to stride length, because we don't want to improve that. We don't want to increase. The more we go for a stride length without chi running, then probably we would be ending up injuring our knee and injuring our hip, because the more we take away from the center of gravity, then we are going to spoil our knee as well as our hip, unless it is a chi running where you can get both the stride length as well as stride rate, right? So this is very important point. Once you have done the ABC drill, the last 16 weeks before your the race has to be your training program, which is what we are going to further do. At this point of time, I would like to highlight to all the runners that choose only one race. Do not go for multiple races. Let's say if you are talking about a half marathon, choose only one half marathon as a race. When we say race, you are going to give your the best. You are not going to give anything less than that, right? So at the same time, you may participate during your practice runs a 10-kilometer race. Participating in 10-kilometer race is not a problem if you are practicing for 21 kilometers race. But when you are participating in 10-kilometer race, go at a pace defined by your coach, or if you are following your own book, your own pace plan, then follow that plan. Don't overshoot yourself. So because we do not know, the race has to be only one in a year or at the maximum two, but then I would say that do not go for more races. So these are the various preparations we need to do as far as half marathon. I'm not getting into the sleeping time. I'm not getting into the rest, the nutrition, all those things have to be adhered to. But this is the preparation. Now coming to the race time, one should not get into too much of a stress. Like the taper period, one should not get into too much of a stress. We should take it as a sport, right? So we have already prepared. If the 16 weeks have gone very well, then we need not even think about race stress and all. We would go and then give our best and then come back. That's it. And even if you are falling short by 1 minute, nothing is going to happen as such. That's it from my side. And then if you want to have more discussion about it, we can do that.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, my next question is, how can I prepare for my full marathon?
Full marathon is a different ball game altogether. I need to, it's a big topic as such. A full marathon, first of all, needs a buy-in, I would say. Buy-in, when I say, if there are a family of 5 and you are one among them, you have to take a buy-in from other 4. Because we don't want a divorce. We don't want to be treated as a bad parent. We don't want to treat that way. So what we need to do is, first of the fundamental requirement is to go and take buy-in. In the sense that I am going to do a full marathon, please allow me to do so. This is the time I'm going to spend, and this is the time I'm not going to be available in the house. And this is what is going to be my commitment. So because my running commitment is going to be much higher, I don't want to you to feel bad. So please support me. That sort of assurance, first of all, we should take. This assurance may not be needed for a half marathon because our practice time is not going to be that much. For a full marathon, you are you are going to do at least 4 times 32 kilometers or 1 time 36 kilometers in an Indian style. So we would be at least going and spending a lot of Sundays away from the house. So that one should first of all take the buy-in. This is the first method. Second step is that one should understand that what they are getting into, in the sense that some basic science they should know, that this is the calorie requirement, this is the calorie which is demanded. So how I'm going to manage my nutrition, how much sleep is needed. Some basic fundamental, at least that they should go and talk to one guy who has already done a full marathon and then understand the basics. For example, the sleep should not be compromised, and all those principles one has to follow. The nutrition has to be top class. So the full marathon, or even for the matter half marathon, is that you have a heavy traffic road. You should imagine that this is a heavily traffic road and you are going to maneuver. You don't want to get into the accident mode. So even the half marathon as well as full marathon is like that. You have to maneuver properly. It is not a full highway where you are free to drive as fast as you can or like that. No, you have to carefully go along. So that is one thing we need to do. When I'm saying carefully, all the parameters you have to focus, because focusing on one parameter is easy, right? Always. But focusing on multiple parameters is going to be difficult. For example, you have to sleep, you are committed professionally, you are committed to your family. At the same time, you have to have nutrition. You cannot miss your meal. And the more you go on a tour or travel, then you have to manage your plan your running also accordingly. So all those things have to be planned carefully. And let's say there is a break, 132 kilometers you have skipped, and now you are going to do the further training the next week. How are you going to manage the 30 kilometers? That is another plan. So one has to carefully go with this thought process. And for 42 kilometers, 42.2 kilometers, I would recommend at least to go for 24 weeks training plan, not the 16 weeks training plan as I told for half marathon. It needs for 24 weeks because you need to slowly, gradually ramp up, and that is how one should go with. Yeah. The further detailing can be done maybe later. If there is a doubt, I can answer.
Hello, this is my question now to you, SN.
Yes.
Yeah. Say a beginner going after 6 months to either 10 kilometers, half marathon, or maybe a season runner going for the full marathon. So what exactly the mindset should be? Because most of the times we talk about the mindset and the runners. So the mindset will be always positive, but how you look at it? What exactly the mindset should be for running a half marathon or a full marathon?
You are talking about the event per se, or you are talking about the preparation mindset,
Oh,
or
see
during the
the
event?
yeah, the preparation part already you are covered, but say before the event you are excited, you don't get proper sleep. Then during the event also you are very much cautious about the covering of the distance. Some people are after the best of the pace and all those things, up twos and all those things. So what
Yeah.
exactly the mindset? Because when you are going to stop, something about cardiac drift to prevent the mishaps. So that sort of mindset to keep away one's ego from the to keep oneself safe.
Yeah. So this is a brilliant question, and then very, very thought-provoking question as such. Whether it is a 5 kilometer or 10 kilometer or 21 kilometers or half a full marathon, we need a different mindset. In a 5 kilometer run, the speed with which we are going to cover is much faster. The 10 kilometer run is also going to be much faster. The heart rate, what we would be hitting in a 5 and 10 kilometers would going to be much, much higher compared to your 21 kilometers or full marathon. We are not going to hit that heart rate ever in full marathon at least. But it's about the volume of distance what we are going to cover. As far as the mindset is concerned, it is going to be uh, if you are a follower of cricket, normally Indians are. So we should go and adopt what Rahul Dravid has said, that I look at only one ball at a time. That sort of approach. So if he is going to play Test cricket on a longer innings of 90 overs, he is going to play. He is going to look at one ball at a time. Whether it is 3 or kilometer or 5 or whatever may be the distance, it is going to be that sort of mindset, including the training time. So, only thing is that you have to know the big picture. One has to look at the big picture, that I am preparing for 21 kilometers on a particular day, and nothing else is going to matter to me. That sort of mindset we need to have. Similarly, during the practice runs, normally we go for three different critical runs in a week. One is a speed interval, second is a tempo run, and third thing is a long distance run. These are the three things we normally do. This is not applicable for 5 kilometers. I'm talking about 10 kilometers onwards. What sort of mindset we need to have? So if these are the three critical runs in a week, we should go with a mindset that I should be completing all the three critical runs nicely. We should not have a mindset that I will do the speed interval, go for a kill, and tempo I may compromise, and then again long distance run, whatever it comes, I'm going to take. That sort of mindset will not help, because we need to put tick mark in all the three. It is as though we are writing an examination, that I may want to become a medico, but at the same time I need at least a 65 mark or 60 marks in English. That sort of approach I should go. I should not be aiming only for 99 or 100 in biology or physics or chemistry, but also I should attempt for 60 in English. So when I mean, what I mean to say is that all the three critical runs have to be tick marked nicely. Whatever the pace plan you are planning for yourself, or the coach is giving for yourself, that mindset we want during the preparation. Then whenever we are going for any other event, then we should have a mindset that my goal is that. My goal is not this race. This is more like a socialization for me. So I'll go and then come back, take some selfies, and then that's it. That sort of mindset we need to have. Then during the race time, I should be keeping myself very, very cool. I should also at the same time I should do the rehearsal. What normally I do is that I do at least 2 or 3 times running race in my mind before any event. How do I do that? I would look at my splits of my practice runs. For example, if I'm a half marathoner, I would have at least done 18 kilometers or multiple 16 kilometers run during my Sunday runs. So I would go back and then see my split. My pace plan, let's say, is my 5:30 pace. I'm supposed to run during half marathon race. If if I need to do 5:30 in the half marathon during the race, I would have done 5:45 or 5:50 during my training runs. how I have done the pacing. That is what is more important for me. The same pace I need to replicate. That is how that is what I'm going to do. 20 seconds faster, 20 seconds faster, 15 seconds faster. Like that I'm going to do. This is another mindset. There are two different set of people in this world. One is number oriented, another is non-number oriented. I am predominantly number oriented. If you would have noticed that anything I speak, I would have talking about in terms of numbers. So what I do normally is that if my pace plan is 5:30, which is what I'm supposed to maintain across my half marathon distance, then I would go for 5:25 for initial 2 kilometers. I would have built up some buffer of 10 seconds. And then I'm going to protect that 10 seconds for the entire race. This is how I maintain. Come what may, I am not going to run faster than 5:25 because my race plan is 5:30. I'm not going to run faster than 5:25. At the same time, I'm not going to lag behind 5:30 also. That I'll ensure. If there is an inclination, down inclination, I'm going to go faster. That I should have in my mind. So that sort of approach one should have. So even the watch setting, when we are going to do the race, at that time the watch setting also will talk about the average pace, how I'm maintaining, is my race on target. All those number will come into my mind. If there is non-number oriented person, then it is more like a, if your mindset is to listen to the music and then run along, whatever is the mindset you should have. Then when there is a crucial number comes during the race, there is, your mind is going to get broken, because we have seen 18 kilometers, we have seen 16 kilometers, we have never seen 19 kilometers during our practice run, because our coach never allowed more than 18 kilometers during a practice run for a half marathon. So our mind is not accepting while running the race that there is something which is bugging me, which is not allowing me to go beyond that 18 kilometers or whatever. That is the time I should switch on my music. This is my method. Everyone will have their own method. I would not use music throughout the run. I would use the music whenever I'm going to get bored on, which is going to be 16, 17, 18. Why I have registered this race? That sort of feeling will come. And as soon as the race is over, again register. That is different for the next race. That is different point. But during that point of time, I need to listen to the music. Then again comes the last 1 or 2 kilometers. There is a concept called fishing, which means that if there is a lady ahead of me, I would be tagging her. I would be just tagging her, looking at her and from the behind and then running. And then I would overtake. And then I would look for the next guy who is in front of me. So this is more like a fishing and tagging that you keep following. This is another mindset which I used to do during the event. Then the last 1 kilometer or 500 meters, I'll start thinking about the people who matter to me in my life. For example, it can be my mother, the sacrifices she has done for me during my childhood days, or the roti she made to me, let's say waking up at around 2 o'clock in the morning, even to watch a match between New Zealand and India. So she would have done that, right? So all those nice points we should start remembering. My wife would have given me some 15 boxes for my lunch for nutrition 1, nutrition 2, nutrition 3, all those packaging she would have done for every day of my lunch, right? So all those things, if I remember, then I won't feel the pain at all. It's more like a then pass through and then clear the run. And the one more mindset I want to mention about the half marathon is that do not ever sprint. And this is applicable for full marathon also. The last half a kilometer or 1 kilometer, do not try to sprint. I have written a lengthy post on this. Kindly please do this, read that. So if you are capable enough to run much faster, please do it in the first kilometer or second kilometer. Don't show all your energy in the last half a kilometer, 1 kilometer. Whatever the pace you are supposed to maintain, go and then finish off with the same pace. Now, Dr. Ambedkar has used carefully a word that what happens if there is a cardiac drift? What happens when that happens? Are we supposed to have a mindset of giving it up, or what are we supposed to do? So what I would prefer is that I know that what are the signs, what are the signs meaning symptoms I need to stop. For example, my shoulders are completely paining, sort of nagging pain. I'm having a chest pain in the middle. I'm slightly sweating also. I'm feeling uneasy. I'm feeling nausea. Then I don't want to take any chance, because I have family to protect, and then I would not take any chance whatsoever. I will stop. But there are other areas where, for example, my own first full marathon, I was running in Bangalore, and 18th kilometer I had a stop because I was just bending back and then trying to hit a mosquito sort of thing, which was uh, on my calf muscle. Then there was a catch, and I could not run. I got completely stopped because of some cramp. And then I waited for 2 minutes, and then runners after runner passing by, and then I could not do anything. I was just thinking that should I need to abort my run? Then I felt that wow, who will abort the run for this sort of a thing? And then I started slowly jogging, and then I picked up my pace, and then I finished 4 hours 9 minutes, which is a practice run. It's not a race for me; it's a practice run for me. What I want to tell you is that there are some signs of death where we should stop abruptly. We should not take any chance. There are some normal, we might have heard of called a Krebs cycle, right? KREB, Krebs cycle. So, which is the energy production cycle. When we run in a normal aerobic mode, we always follow step number 1. And if we cross that aerobic, for example, ventricle threshold 1, and then ventricle threshold 2, and then going beyond anaerobic threshold, then that is the time our lactate production would be at its peak, and the disposal will not happen. Then there will be a jamming. That is, we are violating that Krebs cycle. So what we need to do is we need to start walking, take some sip, listen to some music, cheer for the co-runners, and then you can again get back. Because the moment you start taking NSol or any other energy drink or gel or whatever, you and also your heart rate has come down, then the Krebs cycle again will kick in. Then the step 1 you can follow, and then you can start producing 1 by 1 ATP, and then giving 1 by 1 ATP. That will happen. Then you can continue run. So that sort of mindset one should have. Don't give up the run just because I said so or some heart rate has shot up. But if you are feeling that, having that nausea, if you are having that sort of giddiness or some blackening is happening, it is better to stop. What is the meaning of blackening? Because the blood is not flowing. So why don't we stop? That's a period. So don't even think about anything else. So I think I love that point what Dr. Ambedkar have mentioned, that do you want your ego to be satisfied, or you want to live for life? So I would take living life is much more important. And if the ego is hitting me badly, only one Facebook post, how I failed, that's it. It will be okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, the next question will be highlighting something about, say, hitting the wall. So that is the word used, say, mainly in full marathons, so maybe in half marathons. After 15 kilometers, there is a real test of runners. Say, it is very much tough for a beginner also, sometimes for a seasoned runner also. So maybe your nutrition is not good because maybe some other factors are playing in. So what exactly the plan should be, that after 15 kilometers also you have to run smoothly, and again you said not to sprint at the end, and finish your race comfortably. As well as in full marathon, say after 32 kilometers, sometimes you hit the wall, and then you get tired up, something went wrong, and then it is, you find difficult to finish the 42 miles. So what will be the guidelines from you?
Yeah. So let us look at the hitting the wall from a scientific perspective. This is going to be a little tough. So whenever you're going to watch the video once again, you may go slow on this portion and then try to understand, so that it will be very useful for life rather than for during the race as such. So the formula is like this. We all might have seen what is VO2 max in our Garmin watch or any suitable watch in our life. So the VO2 max value we may be already knowing, right? So the volume of maximum volume of oxygen what we can uptake in 1 minute per kilogram of our body weight. This is all about VO2 max, right? So this factor, you remember this factor, the very, very simple factor, VO2 max is already available in Garmin, but I don't believe this VO2 max given by Garmin. That is different story altogether. We need to go for a much more accurate method of measurement. At least if you are using the chest strap in combination with Garmin watch or any suitable watch, even Apple watch would not give accurate reading because technology is technology. So you have to use that chest strap coupled with a wrist-based watch would give you accurate VO2 max after a few runs, right? So this value, remember. Then there is another thing called lactate threshold, or I would say there is an efficiency factor, I would say. The VO2 max pace is what is defined by the coach or by yourself, what you are running, that cannot be sustained for a longer period of time. Can we sustain more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes? No, it is not possible. You need some rest. Again, you can run, but then again you need rest. That is how we do our speed intervals. Now, can you run at that pace, VO2 max pace for the full marathon? No, we cannot. So there is an efficiency factor, which is what I... So there is an efficiency factor, which is what I approximately define as lactate threshold. The runner may have 85% efficiency or 80% efficiency by which one can run during the full marathon. So multiply that by VO2 max. So if VO2 max is 50 milliliters per minute per kilogram of body weight, multiply that by your what I just now mentioned was that efficiency factor, right? So multiply that and you get the value. Again, multiply that value by your body weight. If you are a 60 kilogram person or 55 kilogram person, multiply that by weight, because whatever we have calculated VO2 max is per kilogram. So you need to multiply by kilogram so that you would get the total oxygen in terms of liters. Is that all? No, it is not all, because you need for the what is the total oxygen in liters for the entire race. So you need to multiply what is your tentative time by which you are going to complete your race, whether it is half marathon or full marathon. Whatever time it is going to require for a half marathon, you multiply that. For example, 120 minutes, or for full marathon, let's say for example 240 minutes. Whatever time you are going to take. Once you get the entire sum, that is known as in terms of milliliters it has come, right? Because the VO2 max itself is defined as in milliliters. The moment you divide that by 1000, you are going to get it in terms of liters of oxygen required for the entire race time, right? Once you have got the liters of oxygen, you have to multiply by 5. I don't know why 5, but that I need to go back and check. But you need to multiply by 5. The moment you multiply by 5, that is the energy required for the entire race. Okay. If the energy required for the entire race is, let's say, 2,800 calories for a full marathon, and let's say the energy which can be supplied by you is only 1,800, assume for a moment, which is why 1,800 I'm saying, because I told you that 450 ml can be extracted, 450 gram of sugar can be extracted from the body, and 4 calories per gram. So it came out to be 1,800. Do you remember in session 1 we spoke about? So that is the supply capability. And what is the demand on you is a 2,800. If you take the ratio of 1,800 upon 2,800, multiply by the 42.2, at that time you are going to hit the wall, provided you don't use any of the nutrition during the race. Okay. So what is more important for you by the scientific formula? VO2 max, you have to have higher the better. Higher the VO2 max. Can that happen during the race? Assume for a moment that you have trained with 1 VO2 max. During the race, can your VO2 max increase suddenly? No, it can't increase. So nothing you can do during the race. Now coming to the second factor. Is the efficiency factor can suddenly improve during the race? No, it cannot. It is the whatever you have trained for, that is the efficiency factor we can use. So even that cannot change. Then the third factor, the time for which you are going to run during the race. Can that be brought down suddenly by 1 hour? No, it cannot be brought down during the race, right? It cannot be even brought down by 5 minutes also, right? Because it has been very well carefully designed time, what you have been given by your coach, or if you are a coach for yourself, then you might have carefully defined what is the time. So even that cannot be changed during the race. Now, what can be changed during the race? Can we change the weight of the person? No. Is there a possibility of managing your weight during the taper time? Yes, of course, there is a possibility of managing the weight. If you don't manage the weight properly during the taper time, you may end up with more weight. You may end up spoiling your race also, right? So while you may not wish to reduce the weight, at least you would like to sustain the weight. You don't want to increase the weight during the taper period. So what I want to tell you is that the hitting the wall is a combination of all these 4 factors, and nothing can be managed during the race. There are factors which can manage, that I will tell you one by one. But these four major factors cannot be managed during the race. Now, what can be managed during the race is the nutrition, because the 450 gram capability, that the what is supply capability, that can be increased by having proper nutrition during the race, by having proper nutrition before the race, by having proper nutrition during the taper time, right? During the 14 days of taper time or 21 days of taper time, that we can improve our nutrition, the quality of nutrition, the nutrition type, and then by which we can able to improve our what do you call the hitting the wall. We can definitely postpone or we can avoid also. Now, coming to the half marathon distance, in my opinion, if the runner is very, very new and the person is wishes to run much faster during the half marathon without having any training idea, without undergone any training whatsoever, not even 6 months spent on the road, then the person would hit the wall even at 10 kilometers also. Because what is more important is, as we have seen in the first session, it is the aerobic ability, which is what the fat burning ability has to be there. If you don't even practice for 6 months, if you don't even practice for 5 months on the road, from where the aerobic ability is going to improve? What all matters is the AVO2 difference. I don't think we have spoken about AVO2 difference during our first session. The artery vein oxygen difference. When the artery is carrying the blood with full of enriched oxygen, it is going with, assume for a moment, 100 oxygen. And what got delivered to the muscle is, let's say, a 70. And what is returning back in a impure oxygen, impure blood or whatever, the deoxygenated blood is going to be only 30 oxygen is going to come back. So the 70 got extracted. So this difference of 100 becoming 30 is what is known as AVO2 difference. So this difference of 70, which is 100 minus 30, which got absorbed by the muscle, has to keep increasing by our aerobic training process. If we don't focus on that, we can never improve our fat burning ability, right? So which is why we are constantly saying that our AVO2 has to improve and all. So the point what I'm trying to make is that during the race, there are very, very few things which are possible to do. One is that proper nutrition. And the second critical factor is that running at the designed pace, what you have been planned with. For example, you are a coach by yourself or somebody else is your coach and then they have planned for you. You have to respect the pace. Now, what is respecting the pace? Let's say 5:30 is the pace given to you. Are you in a position to run at 5:30, 5:30, 5:30 for every kilometer? That is the best thing to happen. Now, people will talk about, no, please follow positive split, please follow negative split, please follow neutral split. People keep writing something or other in the media, right? So, what you are supposed to follow in any of the race has to be neutral split only. Take it for me from granted. No elite runner would run in a negative split and all. Negative split is mainly only for training time, not during race. You have to run positive split. You have to run what do you call neutral split only during the race. During that training time, anaerobic training, you may try negative split. Why? Because normally we want to test whether we are having reserved energy even for the last kilometer or not. During the aerobic base building process, which we have discussed in session 1, come what may, you should never do negative split. You cannot do even negative split. You cannot do even neutral split. You would be forced to do only positive split. And that is what you should respect. The positive split during MAF run is very much okay. And that is the process. That is what is required. And during your anaerobic training, you may go for a negative split. Though I won't recommend, but still you may go for a negative split. And during the race, it has to be neutral split. Now, is very much possible neutral split is 5:30, 5:30, 5:30. No, it is not possible. There are times you may run faster, but to what extent you are supposed to run faster? Maybe 5 seconds faster is okay. 7 seconds faster is okay. Why not more? Now we are going to get into an example called rubber band. We all have seen a rubber band, right? The moment I'm going to pull the rubber band, it is going to come back to its normal shape. And that is why it is known as rubber band. But beyond a point, if I'm going to further pull and pull and pull and pull, and I'm going to release it, there is going to be a permanent set. The permanent set is that it will not going to reach the original shape. It is going to be extended beyond the original shape. And that the difference between the original shape and the final shape is known as a permanent set in our technological term. So Similarly, when you are going to run faster, the stress is getting built up in your body, the heart rate is shooting up. The moment you are going to get back to the same defined 530 pace, your stress level is not going to come down the way you wish to, because it is impossible, because they're all human beings. So that permanent set once formed, then it will never come back. So even if you wish to run 530 pace for a 42.2, which was your design pace, you would be failing in that also. You are going to hit the wall very soon. The moment you are going to run 5:10 or 5:5, you are plundering the glycogen pocket. Do you remember the example I gave, the wood and petrol example? So the purpose of petrol, why we keep talking about carbohydrate, is the carbohydrate extraction possibility is limited. So we have to use it as a precious resource. Fat is available in plenty. So we have to keep spraying onto the fat, but we should not be utilizing the glycogen as such for our running the race. So we should utilize the combination of these two, and we should not utilize carbohydrate or glycogen pocket alone. So that is the fundamental principle of hitting the wall. In short, if the runner is not at all trained, the person will hit the wall even in half marathon. If the person is trained, there is no chance whatsoever to hit the wall during half marathon. That is a misnomer for a half marathon. The only point it can happen in a full marathon, because it is going beyond our human potential, which can be extracted, and that mileage you can calculate based on the formula given, with a caution note that the calculation has to be, the methodology by which you are arriving at the VO2 has to be accurate enough. That's it.
Sir, please tell us about the nutrition before the event, during the event, and after the event.
So I would like to talk about from the taper process onwards. For a full marathoner, there are some people who normally do around 65 kilometers weekly mileage during the practice time. And there are some full marathoners who do 95 kilometers to 100 kilometers also during the full marathon preparation time, the practice time. I'm talking about practice days. So two set of full marathoners, one who follow 100 kilometers weekly mileage, the one who follow 65 kilometers weekly mileage as a peak mileage. It is not every week, but it is a peak mileage. When I'm saying peak mileage, it is the summation of speed interval, tempo run, all those slow runs, including the Sunday long run. All together, the weekly mileage I'm talking about. Now, the 100 kilometer runners would follow 3 weeks taper, and the 65 kilometers weekly mileage people will follow 2 weeks taper. If they are following 3 weeks taper, that is wrong, and they have to follow 2 weeks taper only. And now the half marathoner also will follow 2 weeks taper. Some people may follow even 9 days taper, but then let us follow only 2 weeks taper for this particular discussion. During this 2 weeks, which is 14 days taper period, I would like to split this 14 days into 10 and 4. The 4 closer to race time is known as carb loading period, and the 10, which is far off from the racing time, those 10 days, the initial 10 days of taper period, is known as fat loading period. Now, what is fat, what is the carb, what is protein? I just want to talk about 1 minute on that. Normally, any human being is supposed to take 50% of carbohydrate and 35% of fat and 15% of protein. These are all thumb rule. The exact calculations I am not telling, because I also need to remember the number. So this is not exact number, and the exact number cannot be for, it has to be varying for individuals also. So this is a ballpark number: 50 carb, 35% of fat, and 15% of protein. Now, carb, 1 gram of carb can deliver 4 calories. Protein, 1 gram of protein can deliver 4 grams of calories. Whereas 1 gram of fat can deliver 9 grams of calories. That one should have in mind, because when I'm saying 35%, you need to first of all calculate the total energy, and then you need to divide and then go back if you want to become nutritionist by yourself. So which normally I don't consult a nutritionist, only for a small part of time, few number of days I consulted a nutritionist. So if you want to go with your own process, then you need to back calculate and then prepare yourself. Otherwise, better to go for a nutritionist for 1 or 2 sitting, take knowledge from her or him, and then get back and then do your own process. Now, I would also like to talk about one more fundamental point about basal metabolism rate. The basal metabolism rate is nothing but a factor which is governed by 4 factors: the gender, the age, height, and weight of the person. So if you try to Google and then put your factors, then you would get a basal metabolism rate for yourself, which can be 1000 calories or 1100 calories or 1200 calories based on these 4 parameters. And this is purely not doing anything, only you are going to do breathing, and you are not going to do anything else. So this is known as basal metabolism rate, because even your visceral organs need all those energy for working, right? So the important organs need energy to function. Even to breathe, we need energy to breathe. Our brain needs energy to think. Now, on top of the basal metabolism rate, I would recommend that we need to add at least 20% as a normal human being need. You and me are not normal human being because we are all runners. So I'm talking about the normal human being need 20% over that base metabolism rate. We need to add. For example, if the base metabolism rate for this example is 1000, then 200 calories we need to add. This is what I would define a normal human being should have as a food, 1200. Because the person is going to the office, coming back, doing some walking inside the house, nothing else. Now, a runner who is going to do 65 kilometers in a week, for a simplicity, let me assume 63 kilometers in a week of 7 days, because the 63 is divisible by 7. I can easily calculate 9 kilometer per day, and a body weight of 60 would translate to 540 calories, right? So this 540 should sit on top of this 1200, right? So this is what the food intake has to be. The total food intake is 1000, which is for basal metabolism rate, then 200 the buffer for walking around, and the 540 for running time. Now, when we are going to talk about the taper, the running volume is going to go down by 40% and then further by 50%. So accordingly, we need to reduce the food by 40% and 50%, not the total food. The 540 portion of the food which are required for running, only that has to be tapered down, right? If you don't do the taper down, what will happen? You are bound to increase your weight, and by which you are not going to adhere to the pace plan during the race. I hope this point is well understood. Tapering time does not mean tapering of food to the extent of the total requirement, but only to the extent of what is required for running. That we should cut down. Similarly, we should taper in terms of food, in the sense that, sleep. We have to increase our sleep time, right? So as we are cutting down our running volume, we should also increase our sleep volume accordingly. So that during the race time, even if we don't get the sleep during the previous day, we can able to easily manage. Now the question is about nutrition, so we'll focus on nutrition as of now. So the initial 10 days of fat loading, is there a possibility of increasing from 35% to 50%, 50? Please do so. I hope you heard. So the normal fat is 35%, we said. During these 10 days, can you increase it to 50% by accordingly reducing the carbohydrate and protein? You have to manage this, right? So in the same ratio, you have to reduce your carbohydrate and protein, then manage only with the fat loading to the extent of 50%. Then for the last 4 days, you have to go with the carb loading approach. Now what should happen? 75 to 80%. It is no more 50% of carbohydrate. It is going to be 75% to 80% of your energy requirement has to be fulfilled by carbohydrate, right? Which means that you are going to cut down your fat, which means that you are not going to put ghee to your food. You are not going to add butter to your omelette. So that is how you should manage, right? So once you know how to manage this, then the carb loading will automatically happen. And the last day before the race, you have to have 90% of your food has to come from carbohydrate, which means that you would not take other than anything normal vegetable, not even with oil vegetable, with very, very halka, very, very slight oil. The vegetables have to be cooked, and the fruits and dal khichdis have to be taken, right? That is how you need to manage the carb loading one day before the thing. Now, most of the times, I do not know how many races you are going to run in Sindhudurg. You are going to travel to other places also. This is my assumption, while I want to explain. So you need to know what is the food nutrition available in the hotel you are going to stay. You need to first of all research about the hotel or restaurant at which you are going to have food, because that is the quality is going to define your uh, tummy. Because we all know very well that while running is only one incident, but what is going to happen to your tummy, what is going to happen to your digestion, the visceral organ which is going to get completely stressed out, right? That the creatinine level will be shooting up like anything during the race time. So we need to manage those as well. So we need to know there are two words normally I use. One is familiarity and another is control. The familiarity is about that what sort of food I am comfortable with is known as familiarity. The control is all about that knowing which restaurant is providing quality food is known as control. So I should have a good control over the food, right? So when I'm talking about nutrition, is not all about carbohydrate, protein, and fat. I should also know that which food I should have. For example, cucumber. Can I have one cucumber one night before? Can I have? No, I don't prefer cucumber one night before the race because it's a raw. I want either I can saute it and then cook it and then use it. Normally, cucumber we normally eat right directly. We should not have any fresh vegetables whatsoever, because we do not know whether it's a good cucumber or some spoiled cucumber. We do not know, so we don't want to take any choice, any chance. Then normally people feel that idli is great, dokla is great, wow, it's a safe food also. But along with dokla, along with idli, you should not have chutney. You can have sambar, but you should not have chutney, because we do not know the aging of chutney. What I want to communicate is that you should be absolutely under your control. You should not leave the control to the things which are not known to us. So that is what is important as far as nutrition is concerned. So I would like to highlight one or two points more about nutrition. If you are a coffee lover, if you are a chai lover, tea lover, then I would recommend that to stop chai or coffee for 7 days, and just before the race. And on the race day morning, you have chai or coffee once again. After that 7 days pause or 5 days pause, you again restart your coffee or chai on the race day morning, because coffee and chai both are having caffeine. This caffeine is a signal blocker. Which signal it will block? It will block the pain signal. Dard ka signal it will block. So when we are going to run the race, the caffeine will help you to appease the pain. It will not allow the pain. The pain will be there, but the signal would not go to the brain. So that would be blocked, by which you can able to easily run, and you would not be fooled by the mind. So rather you are fooling the mind by having caffeine in the early morning. So in order to get the maximum effect, you need to have you need to take a pause from chai or coffee for 7 days and restart on a day, on a race day. One more point I've forgotten to mention about that fat loading and carb loading. Why we are doing this fat loading, carb loading? The moment you are doing the fat loading, your body is going to improve the fat burning ability. And when we are depriving the carb during those 10 days, the glycogen pockets would be empty. And when we are going for carb loading for those 4 days, the body will seek more and more carb, and it will be nicely filled up. All the glycogen pockets will be nicely filled up. And when you go and take a race, that point of time, whatever I done 359 and 10, 359 and 10 is a child's play for me. It was also a practice run for me. Of course, I did some violations on the pace plan given by my coach, but then that was from practice run. I have gone to the race by myself during the last 10 kilometers or so. What I'm trying to tell you is that when your nutrition is on the top class, then all you need is the right mindset, what Dr. Ambedkar was talking about. So then nothing is going to stop. So the nutrition is the top most important factor. Apart from that mindset, you would go and finish the race. You have trained well for 24 weeks. You have done the nutrition during the taper time. During the race time, you are going to cover, and you are going to do the race nicely. Now, on the day morning, early morning, we are supposed to get up 4 hours before the race. And then we have to start eating more and more carbohydrate on the race day morning, early morning. At least 3 hours before, we should complete our meal. And now, when I say meal, I'm using a this is a carefully used word called meal, because we need to have a lot of carbohydrate. Our brain is using carbohydrate, the form of sugar, during the entire night, which means that the water got depleted. We need to refill it. So, which is why we need carbohydrate in the morning. I would recommend to my runners to the extent of 2 gram per kilogram of body weight. If you are an elite, people normally go for 3 gram per kilogram of body weight. But I tell my people, yeah, at least start with 2 gram per kilogram of body weight. So if my weight is, let's say, 55 kilogram, I need to have 110 gram of carbohydrate. Now, how will I get to know how 110 of carbohydrate? From where I will know whether how many bananas I is having, how many dates having, how many oranges I need to have. I'll go and Google, find out in Google that 2 ilachi banana, what is the calorie content? What is that 1 apple, medium size apple, what is the calorie content? 1 orange, what is the calorie content? 1 dates, what is the calorie content? I'll get to know. It is for 1 banana, it is around 16 calorie, or whatever. I'll get to know. Then I'll keep adding what I am comfortable with, the comfortable food. You remember that word, what I used, that familiarity. So I would keep adding those carbohydrate food, rich food, and then make a plan. This is what I'm comfortable with. I need to have this during the race day morning. Can I start everything in the race day morning? No. There are at least 2 simulation runs you would have done in the past during your training plan. On those 2 simulation runs also, you should try out this. Now, do you remember that during the first session, I was telling you that do not have banana during that base building process? Do you remember this? Now I am telling you that to have banana, there is a contradictory, right? So that is a base building period. That time we are trying to flower the muscles. That time we are trying to build our fat burning muscles. That was the purpose. But if you are normally eating banana, do eat banana during your anaerobic training day and race day also. I don't mind. But still I would prefer that you use banana limited, which means that I use only on those 2 simulation runs and then on the race day. I hope the points are clear. There are some diverse thought process I have brought in, and also trying to give you a clarification. So I hope this has been understood. Now, during the race time, that is another big point as such. I do not know how much time we have, but then I would like to tell you that our body is capable of digesting a very varied degree of carbohydrate during the race. For example, my digestion is different than your digestion. It can happen. We all go with a binomial distribution. Sorry, we all go with normal distribution curve, where the 95% of the population can digest easily 45 grams per 1 hour of running, right? So this is what is proven. But if you look at the very good, the people who have done the very good practice, they can easily digest 60 gram for 1 hour, which means 1 gram per 1 minute can be digestible. There are research going on that how to improve this 1 gram to 1.2 gram digestion per minute, which means the 20% augmentation also people are doing the research nowadays, which is going to be a very handsome growth in our supply capability. So what I want to tell you is that as of now, 1 gram is a possibility. So you should at least go for various practice runs. You decide what is your capability and then take accordingly either gel or energy drink. Normally, there is always a doubt that what should I have gel or should I have energy drink? Gel provides the maximum energy than compared to energy drink. If your body suits gel, then go with gel. My body doesn't suit gel. I can maximum go with only 5 gels in a race. So I'll first of all consume those 5 gels during the race at a periodic interval. For the balance portion of the race, I'll go with energy drink. So this is my strategy. Then one more strategy, what I use is that I don't open up the gel and then take it and then drink water. No, I don't do that. What I do nowadays is that I prepare my gel solution one night before my race. I open the gel, put it in a bottle, add water, make nice solution, and then I consume that solution. I carry that solution with me, or I park with my volunteers. I belong to a running team, running group, so I go and give it to my volunteers. Yeah, why don't you keep it with me? Why don't you keep that solution in your custody? I'll pick it up from you when I run the race. That is also possible. So I do that manner. And then beyond that consumption of gel, I'll go with energy drink, whatever is available during the race time. This is my strategy. I think you can also adopt this strategy. Now, I wonder that if I missed any point here or not. Yeah, there is one brilliant point which will be coming very handy to all of you, which you might not have heard. I'm very sure about it. The point is that our body has got two different channels. The food channel. One is a normal, whatever the maltodextrin, whatever you're having, that one channel can take, one channel can absorb. The another food channel can absorb our sucrose. There are two different pipelines in the simple terms. So you can take advantage of two different pipelines. The digestion rate, the absorption rate of fructose is slower. So compared to your maltodextrin. So if I'm saying 1 gram per 1 minute, this will take 1 gram per 1.5 minutes or so. Which one? The dates and raisins. Normally I take. The dates and raisins have a combination of 35% maltodextrin and 35% of fructose and all. So I can go for utilizing that 35% of fructose as an additional source of energy during the race. So we normally tend to carry dates. I'm not saying that we are not carrying dates, we are not carrying raisins. But do we know the science? That is what is more important, because the more we know the science, the conviction will be very strong and we would not even miss out. Normally people feel that I only carry gel and energy drink and I'll complete the race and come back. No, it is going to be very, very important to carry the dates and raisins, so that it is going to become very, very handy. And how to consume these dates and raisins? During your entire run, you can consume one and all. And the dates and all, I would prefer that don't make big ball and all. You make smaller ball. Because even the chewing needs a lot of energy. You would be feeling a lot of pain in your jaw. When you are running and chewing, it is going to be very, very painful. So that also you need to manage. I hope, Dr. Rangana, I think I answered most of the questions. We can move on to the next one.
One point I would like to highlight from the nutrition point of view. They talk about the complex carbohydrates. So means the release of the sugar is slow. So that will be helpful in say doing a half marathon or the full marathon. So what is your opinion?
Yeah. So whether it is a half marathon or full marathon, even for living life, we need a complex carbohydrates. So the simple carbohydrate would not work. But during the race, we need to necessarily take a simple carbohydrate, the gel and energy drink and all. But the complex carbohydrate, what normally we take dal khichdi and all those, right, and all, roti and all will be the part of complex carbohydrate, which we can consume during our normal 1 day before race and all those stuff. So that will be very helpful for a slow energy release, which will keep releasing. But whatever it may release, that is hardly 450 gram. And the additional 50 gram is also possible by doing mindful practice. We can increase that 450 to 500 also, the extraction possibility. The elite runners will have a extraction possibility of what do you call 650 grams to 700 grams, right? So for the elite runners, when I say elite runners, there are only 1,000 elite runners in the world. I'm giving the 1,000 as a number because I'm fond of numbers. But what I mean to say is that you and me are never going to be elite runners, even if you are going to run sub 3 full marathon also. So we are not to be called as elite runners. We are still amateur runners only. So what I mean to say is that leaving aside all your occupation and then only practicing for a full marathon and giving a good timing are known as elite runners, not you and me. Now, another important point also, which was cropping up in my mind, is that anyway, I'm missing the point. If I get back the point, I will come back to you later. So the nutrition is very, very important apart from the mindset. So do not miss out on that. And it is going to be very, very helpful. So any one runner, whether they are trained under me or only seeking input from me, and they also keeps telling me that this has helped them a lot because they never feel tired during the race whatsoever. So please do follow this process.
Nutrition after the event.
As far as nutrition after the event is concerned, this is much simpler, but infeasible also. The problem is that within 1 hour, we don't even go back our home, right? So our home is going to be far off if you are living in a part of, let's say, Mumbai, Thane, or any other city, because Sindhudurg, I would say that may offer a comfort of going back home much faster, but still we are social animals. We would like to enjoy with friends. We would like to take selfies. We would like to have a chat about our own run. We would like to enjoy our high. then only would like to get back home. So, so it is going to be infeasible what I'm going to talk, but you need to have a balanced meal within 1 hour of run of carbohydrate and protein, importantly. So the protein can come from boiled eggs also. If you can carry, if your family members can carry boiled eggs for you, or if you are planning a race in your own locality, you can plan boiled egg or whatever as a meal post nutrition. That will be good help for egg eaters. And protein also can be available in other form, that even that can be served. And the full meal of carbohydrate and protein would be very, very helpful. But because if you talk to me as a full marathoner, I need 4 breakfast before I go for lunch. I keep eating, and then that is one way I enjoy my meal after my full marathon effort. Even for the matter 30 kilometers or 36 kilometers practice runs also, I keep eating. So this is very, very important. Nothing rocket science as such. Go and take proteins and carbohydrates. Simple food. Anything processed, avoid. Normally, people go and enjoy their race, post-race with beer. My apologies to you. I would like to bring about the before race day, one night before race day. I have forgotten one point. Now I'm remembering one point. I want to mention that if you are an alcohol consumer, regularly, for example, once in fortnight or once in a month, I would recommend that you go for a half glass of beer or a half glass of wine one night before the race in order to get a good sleep. Do not exceed the quantity. Go for half mug of beer or half glass of wine. Now I'm coming back to the point about the post-race nutrition, what Dr. Rangana has talked about. So having a glass of beer is okay. Do not exceed the quantity even post-race, because any alcohol, even whatever may be the quantum, we are going to get dehydrated. We are already, our body is completely dehydrated. We may be knowing the fact that if I weigh myself before the race and weigh myself after the race, I might have reduced 1.5 kilogram or 2 kilograms sometimes. That is quite possible, right? So, which is nothing but dehydration, severe dehydration. So we need to keep sipping fluids. So as a part of the nutrition race, post-race nutrition, the fundamental rule is that you need to hydrate, keep hydrating. Till the time during the day, your urine color should come to the pale yellow, you should not leave it. And at the same time, you should not go to clear urine color also. You should not be clear. It should be pale yellow. Till the time, you should keep sipping fluid. Again, I'm using the word called fluid because fluid is a mixture of pure water as well as your electrolytes. So I don't need to tell the importance of electrolytes. So it's very, very important. So we have lost a lot of vital minerals. So we need to replenish back all those minerals. So those are all vital. Apart from that, carbohydrate, protein, those are all quite normal. And we would recover very, very fast. The consumption of protein would help much faster recovery. At the same time, I won't recommend to have too much of protein also, because the creatinine level is going to be much higher during the race day. There is a study done. I do not know. This is not being taught in my coaching also. These are all outcome of various research paper studies. They have conducted, they meaning people like you, doctors have conducted studies. What is the race day creatinine level? What is the day 1 after race day creatinine level? Day 2, day 3, day 4. The creatinine level is stabilizing only at the 4th day or so. So what I want to say is that there are other 4 parameters also they have measured, and some parameters are stable, some parameters are abnormal, and they are getting tapered down. So it is very much important that we need to have protein-like nutrients. At the same time, we should not be overdoing it. We should have keep having fluids, minerals, everything. That's it.
Sir, my next question is regarding recovery. How to recover from my half marathon or full marathon run?
So I think in the first session we defined a run as a 4 components. Do we remember that? One is that warm up, second is run as such, third thing is cool down and the recovery. So we said the warm up is for avoiding injury, the run is for fulfilling my aspiration or maintaining my health or improving my health. if it is a slow run, and the cool down is for saving my life, and the recovery is the most important thing which will allow us to run for life, right? So recovery is very, very important. And as soon as the race is over, we should not sit down. We should start jogging and walking, and that is where the recovery starts. The acute inflammation also we spoke about during first session. Our body is full of inflammation now, so we need to reduce our inflammation by doing the cool down process nicely, and do not go for a static stretch. Normally people extend and then keep it for 30 seconds and all. Do not go. Even I have found there are runners forum like websites which they used to mention about static stretches as a biggest thing in the world. Even they have modified their version after looking at the articles of Dr. Philip Maffetone and all. So what I wish to say is that do not go for a static stretch and all. And even by mistake you are with your friends and then start doing static stretches, do remember the principle what I told about during yoga time, that 95% only you should go. If your potential is 100, don't go. For example, somebody do like this and then keep stretching like this. Don't do this, because the already all your muscles are on the verge of breaking because of the acute inflammation what we have caused to ourselves. Do not go and stretch further and tear your muscles. That is my point. So please don't do that. So even if you wish to do that as a because that gives you mental satisfaction, don't go beyond 90% also. Now, there are ice areas which have been kept in that post race. Please go and have ice bath or ice rub or whatever you wish to do with ice, because that is the only time you should use ice. So you should not go for icing after the 4 days of run. You should go for icing immediately within 1 hour of run, not after that. For example, even next day also you may go for icing, but then that is going to be for a shorter time. But that is not of much useful. The research is saying that while we always talk about RICE, how to recover and all, but the point is that the 4th day of icing is of no use. If you want to do the icing, do at the time of injury, do at the time of inflammation. That is more useful than doing it on the 4th day. So as a recovery process, you should go for normal cold water bath and all. That is done. We are not talking about Arctic or Antarctica. We are talking about normal Indian conditions nowadays. And you should go for normal bathing. You should recover very fast by having natural, good food. You should also go for 90 minutes of sleep during the afternoon. The sleep is the best recovery process, and 90 minutes of sleep will give you a good relief. If you want to have a party, do not have a party as soon as the race is over. Go for an evening party. Tell friends that why don't we have an evening party? So in that you can have whatever, fan to have a beer or whatever you may have in a restricted manner. Again, hydration comes into the picture as a recovery process. Then the more you consume alcohol, the recovery time required will be much, much longer. So use it only for enjoyment purpose, not for getting drunk or whatever. Then another point is that we spoke about 90 minutes of sleep. Then if you are a half marathoner, at least take 10 days of rest. Count your kilometers, what you have raced for. If you are done racing for 5 kilometers, take 3 days rest. Every 2 kilometers, 1 day rest. This is a thumb rule you can follow. This is a liberal thumb rule I am saying. There are people who take 1 day rest for 1 kilometer covered also. So there is another set of thumb rule. There are people who follow 1 mile, which is 1.6 kilometer, 1 day rest. So I am telling you 2 kilometers, 1 day rest. So don't assume that I know my body. There are other statements normally we keep hearing that I listened to my body and then I started running after the race. No, don't listen to your body. You listen to the principle that at least you would take every 2 kilometers, you will take 1 day rest. If you have done a half marathon, take 11 days of rest. Then you decide to listen to your body or not to listen to your body. If you are comfortable, then listen to your body and go and make a slow run. In those 10 days of rest or 11 days of rest, you may go for a slow walk, not even the brisk walk. So brisk walk, when I say less than 10 minutes pace, Don't not required. Go for 14 minutes per pace or 13 minutes per kilometer. That sort of pace is okay, and go for only 5 kilometers walk, or don't do for longer distance also. Now, these are all very much essential for recovery. If you are a full marathoner, obviously it goes without saying at least 21 days of rest is very much essential. Then during this recovery period, do not worry about the food intake. When I say don't mind that if you are increasing your weight, so be it. But ensure that good quality food is going into. Do you remember that 9 quality foods we spoke about? So keep having more and more vegetables and fruits and nuts and seeds. Even rice also consume, or roti also. Don't think too much about food restrictions. It will help you to replenish all the macronutrients and micronutrients as well. So keep topping it up till the rest time over. Don't worry that your weight is increasing by 1 kilo or 1.5 kilos or 2 kilos. We can always get back, but this is how the recovery process should be according to me. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Girish.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question is, what common injuries a runner can face? And
Sorry,
what should
I
be the
missed
end?
your. It's not clear. Come once again, please.
What common injuries a runner can face?
Yeah.
And what should be the end of a runner? I mean, if you stop running at a certain age.
Okay, so this question has got two parts, very distinctly different two parts. First of all, we'll talk about the common injuries for any runners. There are hundreds of injuries, but then we would talk about only limited injuries. One is that ITB, which we are aware of, on the side of the thigh muscles normally we get, which runs from let's say hip to knee. That is one injury which is very, very common, ITB. Then there is another very common is runner's knee. The patella going wrong, and then the friction generated between your knee and patella bone, and that is another problem. The cup rubbing within the cup. Then the third major problem is in the the beginner runners normally get is the shin splints. So which is on the front side of the calf muscle, not the calf muscle as such, but the front side, the shin splints, what we call. That is a third injury, mainly for a beginner run we would get, not the seasoned runners they would get this third injury. The fourth injury is your what do you call that, plantar fasciitis, that is coming on the normally on the heel portion. There's another on the heel portion, and then just above the heel portion what we normally get is that Achilles tendinitis. So these are the 5 injuries one normally gets, and then these can be addressed by whenever you guys are getting that issues, please go and watch Bob and Brad, and then take some help files. I think Bob and Brad would give you what is a cause, which is the underlying cause, the root cause. They explain what is the root cause. They explain what is the correction we need to do, and what is a corrective action we should do, and what is a preventive action we should do. So there is a subtle difference between correction, corrective action, and preventive action. The correction is for the said problem to avoid the to cure, that is known as correction. There is already a problem, you are curing it, that is known as correction. You are going to a doctor, doctor is giving medicine, that is known as correction. At the same time, doctor says that once your problem is over, why don't you start doing steam inhalation regularly, that is known as corrective action. And doctor also says that why don't you look at your air quality, and why don't you migrate towards a better air quality place, or keep changing your pillows and bedspreads through which you are getting dust allergy or whatever. That is known as preventive action. So there are subtle differences. These 3 Bob and Brad would explain in their physiotherapy videos. If you follow this, then you can address it comprehensively. I am not they are not paid me. I don't want to follow too many players in the marketplace, and that is why I follow Bob and Brad. This is just a name. You may follow superior people, or you may follow them, or you may follow anyone who gives you confidence, but then at least follow some of the people, because I understand that you are not the experts of physiotherapy per se. If there is an injury, we need to go to the experts. So they would help you out, and to prevent from injuries, again, the physiotherapist can tell you that what sort of exercises you need to do, and a normal running coach would know anything about these sort of thing. If they know, they would be knowing only the what do you call what they have been taught in the classes, more like a textbook, but it is not practiced ones. So like you guys are practitioners, so you have you can do the practice. The running coach cannot practice physiotherapy, so it is better to take the advice of physiotherapy for all these 5 likely injuries one may end up with. Yeah. And coming to the second part of the question, which is about when a runner should stop running. This is a question which is very, very difficult to answer. And to give you a very, very simple answer, so long as you are interested, so long as you are having passion, keep doing that as a practice. But in running, there are 2 aspects I had mentioned to you in the first session. This is my belief, very, very strong belief. One is aspiration, and second is health. For running for health, please do it for lifetime. If you are a 95-year-old person, please do it for lifetime. If you are going to die at 130, please do run up to 130. There is a book called Ikigai. Every one of us must have already heard the book Ikigai. There are 4 pockets in this world. These people have done some research. Of course, they have not come to India, but then there are 4 pockets in the world. One is a pocket in Italy, and a pocket in California, and a hill in Japan, and Turkey, a pocket in Turkey. These 4 places, people are outstripping their age by living 115, 120 and all. So if you are going to follow running as a practice, very, very slow run till 130, please follow. But as an aspiration for a race, I would respect the heart rate. The moment your heart rate is going above and above, uncontrollably, even beyond your control, then stop doing running for racing. That is the point I would say, which means that there will be a point of time, even for 20 minutes, you are not in a position to respect the heart rate, the chosen heart rate. For example, you are 85-year-old person. What is the formula for 85-year-old person? There is no formula. Dr. Philip Afferton says that go and run at 115 heart rate or lesser than that. So if you are going to shoot beyond 115, even a beat, and you are not in a position to sustain that 115 and below, even for 20 minutes, then that is the age you should stop running. And after that, you should go for only walk. Or if you want to run for aspiration, it has to be very, very slow jog, which is of no use. I would say that it would be better to go for walking only. This is what a biometric feedback mechanism I would recommend to use. Just now I saw a chat which talks about diaphragm pain. The diaphragm pain is nothing but a side stitch, what we call as a side stitch. If that is what the doubt which has been raised, I just want to tilt my video screen and then show it to you. Normally the side stitch happens here. This is where the diaphragm lies, right? We have lung here, the 2 lung on right side and 3 parts on left side, and below that we have diaphragm as a circular thing. So which is where we are, the diaphragm is moving, and then it is helping. So if you are going to be a nasal breather, if you are going to be a nasal breather, if you are not going to breathe through mouth, then you would never get that side stitch. So even somewhere in the liver also you won't get that pain. It will be quite normal. You can avoid that. And if you still feel the pain during running, you stop your run, go for a walk for 2 minutes or so, then completely do the abdominal breathing slowly, and then again start running. You would not feel the pain, because this side stitch was one of my major problem even before I ran, my running career started. Because there are some runs I have done even before my running career, and every one of my run I used to have this side stitch, which is somewhere closer to that liver or somewhere closer to that diaphragm area. So that can be easily avoided by doing the normal breathing, which is abdominal breathing. Any other breathing is known as a shallow breathing. That is of no use. If you are raising your breast and breathing, that is not known as normal breathing. If you're raising your chest, that is not known as normal breathing. That is abnormal breathing. That is not recommended. If you are doing the normal breathing, your shoulder will not move and up and down. Your chest will not move up and down. It will be only tummy will go in and out. So that sort of breathing, no problem will happen whatsoever. You may practice that, and that is how we did the breathing during our childhood days. And if you want to experience that, just lie down and keep the hand on your tummy. You would get to know automatically, and that is the right way of doing the breathing. And I hope the aging part is clear. I just want to repeat, if your biometric feedback mechanism, which is 115 heart rate, is not exceeded and can be managed for 20 minutes or above, then you may go for a run. If it is not manageable, then you go for walk only. And that is the time you should stop everything, because I would recommend that this life, what has been given to us, when I say life, this is life. My S Natarajan is life. So if I want to respect my life, I should not take any other measure which is beyond what is needed. So whether I have my family that point of time or not, or I am alone and only surrounded by my society and friends, then also I should not do that sort of thing. I should respect that age, or I should go for a normal thing. There are people who are running at 105. We are seeing inspiring videos. Don't get inspired by that, because there are books available which very clearly says that the outliers should not get inspired for. The outliers are not for inspiration. The outliers are only for watching. So the inspiration has to come from normal distribution. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, lastly,
Thank you, sir.
lastly, we have modified the last questions that you already talked with that you don't train the cyclist and the swimmers. So now the point remaining is that as a runner, so what should be the idea to go for the cross training? Suppose I want to do a cycling. So what should be the period? So whether it is 1 hour, say maybe 1.5 hours. So what should be the period of cycling to develop my short muscles which are not used in running? And what should be the idea of to go for the swim? And the second question will be something like people going for the ultra runs and more sort of distance. So you all know the Sunil Shetty doing one day 50 kilometers and the second day is doing 30 kilometers at some higher pace. So the idea is to strengthen the muscle fibers or to give the formation to new muscle fibers. So that's sort of the idea. So what is your opinion and what is your idea about it?
So as far as the cross training is concerned, this is very much essential. I would recommend that every one of us should do cross training. I do my cross training in the form of self weight. For example, even a simple strength training exercises is a cross training. It is not known as only cycling is known as cross training, or swimming is known as cross training. Even doing a simple what do you call strength training exercise is also known as cross training. Cycling is very much essential. If you know how to ride safely, please do whenever you find time, but then do not shoot the heart rate. What I mean to say is that, let's say you have done a speed interval on a particular day. On that particular evening, if you want to go for a casual cycle ride for, let's say, 10 kilometers or 12 kilometers at a well within your heart rate aerobic zone, then please go and do that. Similarly, swimming also you can do on those days on a key run day also. When I say key run, on the tempo run day or speed interval day or even on a Sunday, you can go to the swimming pool and lie there, be there. And if you want to walk within the swimming pool, please go and do the walk on the swimming pool. But again, for a triathlete, I am no expert. So there are works possible. So you need to respect your plan that first comes this, the next comes this. So I'm going to do the sandwiching. I'm going to do the brickwork and all. So I do not know much about it. Please go and do that. But even beyond that brickwork also, if you are a pure runner, then also you can go and do riding the bike, all swimming also, not a problem, so long as you are respecting the heart rate. But respecting the heart rate does not mean that you will go for a longer distance also. For example, in cycling, I would say anything longer than 50 kilometers is longer for me. 25 kilometers need not be longer for a rider if you are a rider. But then you have to respect the heart rate. Go slow. Do not go with an inclination sort of thing on a cross training day. use this cross training only to relax yourself, give some good recovery, give some good normal workout, activation of some muscles, not strain your muscle, only running muscles and all, that you can go and do. Now coming to the part about what do you call that, ultra running. Again, my expertise is not with ultra running. And then whenever I speak to people like Sunil Shetty, they say that they are respecting the heart rate. So which means that he used to tell me that SN, my heart rate is on average never exceeds 145, 150 and all. So that is why I train myself. And the more the heart rate they increase, then it is going to reduce their longevity. Which means that I normally strongly believe that number of breathing in a human life is going to be constant. The more you run, you would have done a lot of breathing during the running, that would going to reduce your aging. This is what normally I believe in. Similarly about the heart rate also. The number of heart rate, not the heart rate as such, the number of beats I am going to survive in my entire life is fixed already. That the moment I run more and more, if I do the mathematics and find out, it's not going to be very significant. I can tell you because I've done all these calculations myself, because I truly love in numbers. So it is not going to reduce significantly, but it will reduce at least 6 months or 3 months or 9 months or whatever. So what I would recommend is that if you are going to follow a ultra plan, do listen to quality videos in the YouTube, in the sense that how a plan should be done. I have read 1 or 2 big books about ultra run, because I want to enable myself for training ultra runners also. But still, I myself have not done more than 2 times of 50 kilometers. So I cannot call myself as an ultra runner. Unless I do 160 kilometers or 160 miles, I cannot call myself as an ultra runner who can give recommendations. But ultra running is a completely different ball game, which you are aware of. You need to manage every single aspect. While the only one good thing is that you are not going to run at a higher heart rate. That is ruled out, which means that you are not going to die. That much is guaranteed, because in ultra running, you are never going to raise your heart rate. You are going to run at a mild pace, right? So that you are going to maintain. But what is more important is protein intake. No more carb is of course important, but then you should not lose your muscle mass. So protein intake is going to be significantly important there in ultra running. And also you need to know how to manage your food during the run. That is another aspect. Because normally I keep talking about to my runners, yeah, you need to manage the visceral organs, because that is what is going to digest. And if you are going to run, how are you going to digest? You need to only one activity at a time. But in ultra running, it is not so. You need to do 2 activities at a time. One is digestion process by itself and running also. So in order to manage that, you have to do the slowing down of running, so that the digestion will happen. The run also is slower. There are several aspects. And then the seasonal changes will happen. The temperature differences will happen. The dogs will come. I mean, what not? In ultra running, it's a completely a different ball game altogether, which I can't even imagine, right? So you need to keep changing shoes. You need to keep changing your t-shirts. There are multiple strategies one has to follow. So I don't want to talk about ultra running as such, because I don't have that capability or knowledge to talk about ultra running. But at least this much I'm aware of by reading 2 books. It's completely a different ball game altogether. But if somebody is going to say ultra marathon is going to be tough than full marathon, I beg to differ, because full marathon you can lose life. In ultra marathon, you need not lose life. You can be safe also. If you are an aspiration of having full marathon, there is a possibility of losing life. If you are aspiring for ultra marathoner, the possibility is very, very limited, because you are going to be staying at a milder heart rate. And no run should be compared. Every run having its own toughness. 100 meters cannot be compared with a full marathon. 100 meters having its own challenge. Otherwise, everyone would become Usain Bolt. So we need to respect the individual races. The only point what I want to make is that if you are a full marathoner, don't think that you are going to do great in ultra marathon. No, it's a completely different ball game. And if you're already doing great in full marathon, do not think that full marathon is much easier. You may come and do full marathon, but you may not do your full potential. The moment you are going to do full potential in full marathon, after doing full potential in ultra marathon, then it can be posing a lot of challenges to you also. I do not know whether I'm making sense in what I'm trying to convey, but then this is the point. I do not know whether I answered the question, but if there is any more question, we can address that.
Yeah, people are sometimes very fond of back-to-back half marathon. So what is an idea in it?
So that is what I'm saying, that if I'm fond of half marathon, let's say I want to do 50 half marathon in 50 weeks, or let's say out of 365 days, I want to do 365 half marathons, because we are seeing all these points, right? So nothing wrong, but nothing wrong for that particular person. Are we that particular person? I do not know. So I have decided myself that when I decided, before I took my full marathon aspiration, I promised to my wife that I would not undergo full marathon after I have completed one full marathon sub 4. One full marathon I want to do sub 4. After that, I am going to leave that aspiration. I would become responsible for myself and my family members. After that, I'll be doing multiples of half marathon, but never do a full marathon. This is the promise I have taken for myself and for my family members. But I'm not going to force upon this sort of thought process to any one of you. But at the same time, there are people who are doing 365 half marathon also. Are they doing right? Yes, of course they are doing right. They are doing right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and back to Kashmir also. That is also right. But all those rights are for them, for that particular person. Are we that person? We should question ourselves. So I would recommend that before venturing, do not make it as an advertisement that you are doing, keep doing. Because any outlier like this can spoil at least 10 lives. Please have it that in mind. You may be the best capable person on this earth to do back-to-back half marathon, but do not instigate your friend. Because what I'm saying, instigate, you may not go and directly tell him that start running with me. No, you won't tell him or her. But on seeing you, people may get inspired. So if you are having that social media presence, please do not publicize for the benefit of the other runners, commoners like me. The moment I see you, I get tempted and I'll also go for a run. In that process, I may decapacitate myself or lose my life. That should not happen. So I do not know, the impact of running, especially post-COVID, is much higher, because normally what we felt that virus is the cause. No, virus is not the cause. Virus is just like a natural process. We are born, so the virus has born. We have made some mistakes, so virus came. But the more important thing is the carbohydrate, the excess carbohydrate. So that is the pandemic, which caused one more pandemic. The virus is not a pandemic as such. The COVID is not a pandemic. In addition to that, our food patterns is becoming one more pandemic, and that is why we started losing life. Because of our food pattern like this, any injection which is given as a booster dose or any other the vaccination is causing problem to us. The people, I have seen my experience that the best of best comedian who was living a great life, he went for propagating for vaccination. After the one day of vaccination, he died. What we are trying to say, we do not know the reason. There is an article beautifully written by Dr. Philip Maffetone, and I have also posted on my wall, even on Mumbai Roadrunners wall, everywhere I have posted that what is known as athletic death. So let us be responsible. If you want to run every half marathon every day for 365 days, please take buy-in from your family members. Please make them comfortable in their living, and then start all these. But do not invite your friends also into this by putting into the social media and all. That is my humble request. You may follow, you may not follow, but as a responsible citizen of India or the world, I want to mention this point.
Yeah, that's very well said, SN, because people are fond of likes and thumbs and all those things. So that was very nicely elaborated from you. So I would request Prashant, if there are any questions, to go for the last sessions. I think we have very limited time. Prashant?
No, I don't have anything.
Yeah. Any
I
other
think they're
questions?
in a
You need to have
chat.
something, man. We want to hear you.
Yeah, there was, I think, one question raised. Can SN be the coach for the Rangna runners?
Official coach.
Official coach. So SN, this is, I think, the exemplary compliment from the audience.
Thanks so much for this
what
kind
is your
words.
opinion? Yeah.
I'm not sure I deserve to be the official coach or not, but then if there is any possibility and if I can help any runner in any which way, I can do that. Surely I can do that only on a need basis, in the sense that normally I don't take more runners because with only one view that I want to spend quality time with my runners. And normally I cap it for 10 runners because I get runners from all parts of India, sometimes outside India also. And then I keep my review time very clearly with them, and I don't want to spend any other time with anyone else unless there is a specific doubt created. For example, if somebody wants to show that I have done this run, how is it? I may not be keen to answer because I have multiple other work to do. At the same time, if there is any doubt, for example, I think I'm making mistake. Can you check this point? Surely I will take out time and then I will surely sort out all those points. And if I don't have knowledge, and then I'll get the knowledge and then sort out the issue also. That much. And then if you want to put official, I am privileged to be part of that tag. Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for the love. Yeah.
Do you have a
Yeah.
space in next batch?
Yeah, that's what so far I have not even called for. So it's always going to be there. Normally I take 10 people, and then anyone I train, normally I don't take them for next cycle. In the sense that I am a strong believer that I provide knowledge, I provide complete knowledge in such a manner that the moment person exit from that training program, the person can do training plan by themselves, and they can start training their friends and relatives. That sort of approach only I take. And then beyond that, I don't train them. And I also tell them that you go and attach yourself with some other coach if you wish to, because more and more other diverse view can also come and help the runner, because that is how one can improve. The kindergarten teacher would remain there. The primary teacher would remain there. So we cannot keep, we have to keep changing the teacher so that we should upgrade our knowledge and move on. There is no point in getting stuck to one particular person. This is my view. So that is how I tell my runners that I identify these are the good coaches. You may have a look at them and you can go and join them. So yeah, that is how I do.
Sir,
Yeah,
are
fine.
the chest straps are available on net, Amazon?
Yes,
Chest
yes,
straps.
doctor. Yes, doctor. So you can in Amazon it is available. I would simply say there are various chest strap available. Foreign brands are also available. But I would say that though Garmin is also maybe a foreign brand, but it is plentifully available in India. Either you can take from your own distributor, Garmin distributor, if he is nearby, closer to you, or in Amazon also you can take it. There are two variants available in Garmin. One is of around 6,000 to 6,500. A Garmin distributor would, if you can negotiate, he may give it to you at 5,500 also. And there is another brand which is available, the same Garmin, another variant, which is around 11,500 or so. I don't remember the price. And one would give even the vertical oscillation, the ground contact time, or all the higher level of parameters. So vertical oscillation is one of the bad element in our running, in the sense that just want to take a half minute extra. So when we run, we are supposed to move forward, right? To not reach the goal, we are supposed to move forward. When we go up and down, that movement is additional, that we are wasting our energy. So all those points also this Garmin chest strap can give if you are going for a higher variant. But that is not mandatory as such. So you can go for either one of these two, and both would suffice a purpose. There are Decathlon brands also available in those days. I do not know now it is available or not. Those are available for 1,500 rupees or so. But I have not checked the veracity of the chest strap, because the one run I used, which I got from my running trainee, that worked damn well. But whether that will work for 10th run or not, that I'm not sure.
Another thing is, while doing push-ups also, you have to do with chest straps.
I am more finicky of that nature because anything I do, I check, calibrate myself.
Right.
I would not use for every one of my push-ups. I would, let's say I'm getting into clamshell. There is one exercise called clamshell, right? So we open up our legs and again closing it. So I would do clamshell, let's say 20 repetitions. Then I'll keep checking my heart rate when I'm going to touch my 120, which is 10 beats lesser. So
Right.
the moment I touch 120, then I will stop and I know the count and I will only repeat those counts. The textbook may would have
Right.
given some 25 repetitions or 50 repetitions. I would never go because again, mine is first principle. So I will go with my first principle.
Right. Even with tempo runs or hill runs, we should not use chest straps then, because that is a training for pace.
No, I
Tempo
would
runs and
use
hill runs.
I would use chest strap for all the runs. I would insist for all the runs except the long runs. Long runs, you would be tending to become more and more. In running, we have two type of, rather in life, we have two type of stress. One is fatigue, which is nothing but up, down, up, down, up, down. In the sense that, let's say you are running up and coming down. So you are applying stress and releasing stress, applying stress, releasing stress, which is cyclical in nature. That is known as fatigue, what we call. And the aging, for example, now I'm 53, next year I'm going 54, 60, 65. That is more like a creep. So we are anyway going to be subjected by two sort of stress in life. So it is better that even for tempo also, why I'm saying tempo, it is very important because your coach might have defined a pace for to run. But if your aerobic base is not built, then you may very well cross your lactate threshold again and again. And in order to manage your pace plan given, that is also not going to be good because the ultimate aim is to run at the lactate threshold or slightly less than lactate threshold, which is be governed by heart rate only. But at the same time, because you cannot keep monitoring the heart rate, you are going with the pace plan. The pace plan is more like a, if I can use the Indian English word called jugaad, that is the pace is the jugaad. But the heart rate is the specific need one should aim at. But even as a coach, one would say for ease of the trainee, it is better to go with the pace, not with the heart rate, because you cannot keep watching your heart rate. But as far as VO2 max, which is the speed interval, you need to know what is your maximum heart rate. I would tell all my trainees to be responsible to their family members, at least run 1 beat lesser. So you put an alarm, let's say your maximum heart rate is 186 in your life. So you should put an alarm for 184 or so. The moment your alarm beeps, then slow down, be accountable for your family. That is how I tell my trainees to go with.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Doctor.
So, if there are no questions, I think we'll go for the end of the session.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So once again, thank you very much, SN. So you have delighted us with these two sessions, particularly today. Some part of was tough rather, but as the session is recorded, so we'll again listen the part of the hitting the wall, and that will be helpful for most of us. So once again, I thank you very much. And once again, I thank my group, Rangana runners, also for giving me and pushing me to arrange the session. And I'm very much delighted that Mac has done a wonderful thing to upload the sessions on the YouTube. So thank you very much and good night.
And
Thank you, sir.
I just want to thank from my side that for this all the opportunities what you people have given. And I am seeing only 6 names over here, and all those people who are in the background. Thanks for patience hearing. And I do recognize that some of the points I have a tendency of speaking fast. So please go back and then listen to the video, maybe at a slower on the particular portion. It will be very, very useful. Unless we understand the science, we may not be in a position to appreciate the point and then implement it. So please do appreciate and then implement it well. And then thanks so much for all the kindness. Thanks so much for all the love and time. And then I'm privileged to be part of this group. And thanks so much. Thank you.
Thanks,
one more
sir.
query. One
Thank
more
you so
query, SN.
Yes.
We have uploaded the recording on YouTube, so you don't mind?
Oh, I don't have that. That's I normally keep telling people that nothing is mine, not even my shadow. So
Yeah.
the genes what I've got is from others, my parents, and the learning what I've got from my parents and teachers. So nothing is mine. So I've either gone through the book and that knowledge would have come, or I would have heard someone, that knowledge would have come. So you are free to publish wherever you wish to, and then you are free to take my name wherever you wish to. And even if you don't take my name, that is also perfectly fine. I don't have any problem whatsoever.
Anjana,
Thank
say
you.
thanks in Tamil.
Sorry?
Sir, ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் நீங்கள் இത്ര நல்ல செஷன் சொல்லி தந்து.
Wow. Wow. It's great for me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
मला पण
So please do visit Sindhudurga.
चांगला वाटतो, मला पण चांगला वाटतो.
तर सिंधुदुर्गात नक्की या, एकदा आपण रन करू सगळेजण.
Yeah.
करू आपण
Most
करू.
welcome.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
thanks,
bye.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.